What's up, snobs? Shane here to give you my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. We finally get to watch these two monsters meet. Hopefully this one doesn't end with them both having a mother named Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Normally, I save my thoughts for the end of the video, but I'm just going to give it to you up front in this case. This is a big dumb movie where a monkey fights a lizard. If that sounds cool to you, check it out because it is cool. If that does not sound interesting to you and you don't want to spend 2 hours of your life watching that, then you can go ahead and skip this one. It really is that simple in this case. So let's talk about what worked and what didn't work, starting with the negatives. I think it's basically universally agreed upon that the human characters are the weakest part of this movie and really, almost all the MonsterVerse movies. I don't need to see any more of these flat, boring human characters. They really grind the movie to a halt every time that they're on screen. I get the purpose that they serve within, the movie and the story, but it doesn't work. At this point, I would rather, in this movie, honestly, I would have rather seen King Kong just speak than have to watch another scene with these boring human characters. It's incredible that you can make a movie about Godzilla fighting King Kong boring, and yet every time they cut to these characters, I found myself completely bored and disinterested. Every time the monsters were on screen, I was 100% sold on this movie, and every time they weren't, I was out. It's really that simple. And so, this is something that they really need to fix going forward in this universe for the next movie. I don't want to see any more scientists spouting off mumbo jumbo that doesn't make any sense. I don't want to see any more government agents running around talking on walkie-talkies to one another. I don't want to see any more concerned children trying to get their hard-hearted parents to see that the monsters are actually good guys. We've seen it. We've been there. We've done that. We don't need any more of that. Movies like Jurassic Park and Jaws proved that you can have a big creature movie with really interesting human characters. Some of the best scenes in Jaws and Jurassic Park are the humans sitting around talking because they were interesting, well-written characters. And so in this MonsterVerse, we either need to do that, we either need to figure out how to make these characters interesting, or just cut them completely and just give us the monsters, because the humans really dragged this movie down for me. The other weak spot that didn't really work for me in this film was the story, right? This is a pretty simple premise that we're signing up for. We just want to see Kong versus Godzilla. That's it. We don't need this big, complicated setup and justification for why they're fighting and what's going on and who's pulling the strings and who's doing what and what is the ultimate goal and all of this other stuff. It just gets cluttered and bogged down unnecessarily. It doesn't make sense. We don't need all of this. Simplify it. And yet every time they tried to unravel a new plot point, I just found myself caring less and less. Pretty much every storytelling decision within this movie did not work for me. I wanted to care. I kept waiting to care about the story, and it just went nowhere. I just wanted to see the two characters fight, and this movie really got bogged down in a lot of unnecessary directions that it tried to go. That's what didn't work. Let's talk about what did work. The CGI in this film is outstanding. This is some of the best CGI work I've ever seen in my entire life. Some of those close-ups of Kong look like they're taken from the recent Planet of the Apes movies. It looks so visually impressive. And what I loved about this film was pretty much everything related to the monsters. Every time they were on screen, it worked perfectly. They were both so, engaging and entertaining and charismatic. I thought Kong gave the best performance in this entire movie. I thought a CGI monkey outacted all the other human characters. Every time they were on screen, I was 100% hooked on what this movie was doing. That is the thing that this movie absolutely nails, is those two characters. I came into this movie rooting for Godzilla because I loved that first Godzilla movie. I thought that was fantastic. But by the end of the film, the movie actually made me care about both of them. I wanted the best for both of them. And so when they get to that big climactic fight, I did find myself conflicted because the movie had done an excellent job of giving me a rooting interest in both of them. I loved everything about the monsters in this film. The showdown between these two is an absolute blast to watch. Anytime one of them is on screen, the movie works. But when both of them are on screen together, it just goes to a different level. And so watching these two fight was so much fun. This is one of the most fun sequences that I think I'll see in a movie all year. Each of them gets to land these massive blows that made me audibly react to what was happening on the screen. And it wasn't just, cool visuals. As I said before, you cared about both of the characters. And so watching them fight was definitely, hands down, no contest, the best part of this movie. And it makes the rest of the movie worth watching just for that alone. What I also really appreciated about this film is they pick a winner. These two fight, and one of them clearly wins. And, so many of these versus movies kind of take the cheap way out, and they fight to a draw, and then they team up and fight someone else. And that's not the case here. These two come in, they throw down, and one of them beats the other one. And I really appreciated that. I liked that the filmmakers were bold enough to take a stance and do that. This is a true blockbuster. I wish that I could have seen this movie on the big screen with a bunch of my friends, because this is that big, ridiculous, crowd-pleasing popcorn movie that I look forward to every year. This movie isn't perfect. The story doesn't work at all. The human characters are super boring. But Godzilla and Kong and their fight work so well in this movie, and those are the reasons to see it. For that reason, I'm giving Godzilla vs. Kong 3 stars out of 5. Thank you so much for checking out this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this.